I like this music.
It's our intro.
Yeah, I like it.
Hello, Shannon Grimm here with Shannon Grimm and Partners, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, and I'm here with Jennifer Scott and Mike
Hello.
Stanley, who always seems
Hola.
to steal the show, Mr. Stanley. And we're also here with Ryan French from Pillar to Post. Poor Ryan is now kind of stuck with us. He's sort of become family and kind of goes where we go now.
Hey, it's a
How does
pleasure.
that feel?
It's great. I know where to get my candy.
That's the most
true.
important thing.
When you need your Zots fix, you know where to
Yes,
go.
yes. I just introduced other people to those.
Yes, you make them eat them without telling them what they're going to do.
Yeah. Nobody knows what a Zot
never
is. How
had
do you
one.
not know what a Zot is? They've been around forever.
Ever.
Jennifer says she hasn't had one. I feel like
She'll have
someone
to
needs to
have
go
one
run and
on
grab
us.
one
Try to get
and
one.
have her try it on the podcast right now.
That would not be good. But anyhow, so Ryan is one of our preferred home inspectors, since we're not allowed to have a single preferred home inspector. But Ryan does a great job for us, and he does short notice for us and some stuff whenever we need him to. Just kind of helps us out in a pinch. But just tell us some of the things in a home inspection that you might have found that you weren't quite expecting to find.
Oh boy, you'd be surprised. You'd
I
be
wouldn't.
surprised at the stuff we
Nothing
see out
surprises
there.
me
I mean,
anymore.
you've called me on a few and said, look at this, but really, we run the gamut. There's a lot of people that will walk out there and say, "Oh, sorry about the mess," and it's like the mess. This whole house is an entire rat hole. I mean, and they're asking to move stuff, and it's like, don't bother. I mean, the cat poop that's on the floor and stuff like that. It's like, well, why do you have to move that desk? I mean, there's
Right. There's
a lot
bigger
more
problems.
There's bigger problems
Yeah.
that I have
Bigger
to
fish
be-
to fry.
Yeah. So,
Speaking of, it smells like you might have just fried fish in here.
yeah. There's just an abundance of issues that we come across, and it's kind of unbelievable how some people live. And then there's other
yes.
people that have a spotless home, and they're like, "I'm sorry for the mess." And I'm
That's
like,
also unbelievable, too.
yeah. And I'm like, if I could only get my house to look like this,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, it's that's why I love what I do, because it's different every day.
Yes. So I like the fact that what we do is different every day, but still somewhat consistent. I could do without roaches and fleas, though.
Yeah, that part's a little rough when you got to get in your garage and take your clothes
Close off
before
in the
you,
garage before you go in the house.
before you
Yeah.
enter your house, and
Been there.
you get inside and your daughter's like, "Dad, I have friends here," and you're like,
I have not had that happen.
"Pardon me."
My husband does question my judgment when I'm taking my clothes off in the garage, though. It's like, it's not my fault. I think they should have to disclose if there are fleas in a home.
Oh yeah. Well,
Especially fleas.
if they're living with fleas, they probably don't know that they have fleas.
Well, I've gone to vacant homes even that have
yeah.
fleas. The agent should have to, because there is no way that walking into a home as an agent, you do not know that you're getting attacked by fleas.
Well, unfortunately, there's some agents that don't care.
Yeah, that's a problem. I have a poor dog at home. But,
Moving on from
Yes.
roaches and fleas, tell us a little bit about Pillar to Post.
I have been in business now for just over 5 years. Pillar to Post has been around for over 23 years now. We're technology based, so there's a lot of good inspectors out there, but we really focus on the technology and what can change our inspections versus our competitors. So we focus on a lot of different things out there that our competitors don't have. I mean, if you're not delivering the inspection day of now, that inspection report, we still get people that ask us, how many days is it going to take that? Unfortunately, that question shouldn't even be asked, because everyone should be delivering the report today. There's people, we used to print on site, but since we're delivering it electronically, if you want it printed, we'll get it to you. But I think electronically takes care of 99.9% of our clientele.
yeah.
I've had you deliver inspection reports to me within an hour, by the
Yeah.
way. So it's fast.
And now we've added things. We have P2P 360, which is 360 pictures of every single room. We embed, it kind of gives you like a tour of the house, so it's nice to have for the next month after you're done. While you're waiting to actually close on your home, you can keep going back and looking at the house. In some of the stuff we do, we offer measurements of all the rooms, the walls, the floor, There's a lot of different things that we can add in there for you, which is kind of a nice feature as well if you're trying
Now,
to figure out painting or.
If you're adding those measurements, is that a special cost? Or?
No, we offer different packages based off your comfortability with the house, and it comes included in 2 of our packages.
Okay.
So we just started including it because it gives us people another reason to use us. And we teamed up with a company that offers that. We have another thing that we do. We have home inventory by Centric, where we put all your appliances in and mechanicals, and then you can put anything else once you take it over.
Nice.
But it gives you manuals, it gives you warranty work for all that stuff. So if you're ever at Home Depot and you need something, a filter for your refrigerator, you can just pull this app up and it'll tell you
I
what you
didn't
need.
know you had that.
Oh yeah, he's told me about that before. I can't remember. I was at an inspection with you, my out of town client, and you were going through taking pictures of that and telling me about that, and that is the coolest thing. It's so little in the grand scheme of things, but it makes such a big difference.
We just had a realtor, a customer that got the measurements of the house. Then with ours they got Centric and everything, and then their house got burned down, or they had a fire and they lost a bunch of stuff. Well, they were able to use the 360 photos in Centric for their insurance claim because you could see everything that was there. Plus we had all the appliances and all that stuff listed, and they had gone in and added a bunch of other things. TVs, you can add whatever you want. But then they used the measurements and went to Lowe's and ordered all new cabinets and everything like that, just off of what so they didn't, they could just keep their process of getting back to living pretty quick.
Wow, that's
so
pretty cool.
it's good to hear. Terrible story to hear that they had that issue. Fortunately, nobody got hurt, but it's nice to hear that we were able to help them out like that.
Yeah, it could have been worse. They could have not had any documentation of that stuff, which is
and then
then
you're trying to prove that you have these things, or this was the status of my house and stuff like that. An insurance company can only do what they can do. You can't say you have a Rolex sitting around when you don't have any proof of it, right?
Right.
So
it's kind of hard to do, especially if it's not on your insurance or anything else. So
kind
of hard to prove.
So with that, those are technology-driven things that we like to offer from day one. Just to, like I said, gives you another reason to use us. I mean, this is a loyalty business, and we're not just working with the realtors, but we want our customers to be able to recommend us out there to to their friends and feel confident of what we can deliver out there.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people expect that that the inspection company can come in and move stuff around and all this stuff. So, we try to set the expectation that it's a visual inspection, because you guys, while you can go into the attic, you can't move all the boxes in the basement and see the basement walls and stuff. So just we try to create proper expectations, but what would you tell a buyer as proper expectations for when you're doing an inspection?
Well, ultimately, it's telling the buyer, but for you guys to tell the buyer?
Yeah, what would you recommend how we prepare them? Because that's one thing that we're sharing with them, is that it is a visual inspection. You can't move stuff around.
The biggest thing for us is telling the sellers and having the sellers prepare everything. Yeah. And, I mean, as far as the buyers go, all we can do is tell them that exact expectation. But really, we need to get the word out to the selling realtors. And there's a checklist that we send out ahead of time. We're going to be inspecting your home on this street, and please have these things done. We need proper access to the attic. If we can't get in the attic, that's a huge concern for a lot of people. It's like saying you can't get into the basement to see if there's any water damage. I mean, they're going to turn around and ask us to come back out and do it, and it just causes a headache for everybody. So it's really preparing and probably the communication between the buying and the selling realtor too. That's probably the biggest thing, is getting the seller prepared to have the house ready. I mean, I've had people, I think it might have been one of your houses, where you had boxes downstairs was full of boxes, and they went around and they pulled all the boxes a couple feet out so we could walk
so you
around.
can get around it.
So we could walk around the entire basement and look at the wall, which nobody does that. No realtors really prepare like that. So it was kind of nice because...
And you thought you were going to get in trouble, Shannon.
Yes, I did.
No, but it is different. It's nice when we see that because they're don't have anything to hide.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell us everything that's there, I mean, I have some people that'll put a piece of paper up that'll say, this stain, I already fixed the leak above it, but they're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
They're not trying to hide what's there. They're telling you what happened and that I already fixed it, or maybe you didn't fix it, but at least you're telling me it's there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it definitely, prep work is huge in this because we don't move things. It becomes a liability for us.
Oh, yeah.
A big one is the fireplace. These gas fireplaces, they're never lit, especially during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
People shut them off for the summer. I get that. However, when you're turning a gas, we don't know why you shut it off.
Right.
There could have been a leak, and then we're turning it on if they ask us to, which is terrible. And I've had a few where I've almost blown my face off.
Oh, wow.
And so we do
That's
everything
awesome.
we can. But it's hard to tell a customer too that's paying you that, oh yeah, by the way, I know we're standing in front of this fireplace that should be easy to light. However, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So it just kind of puts us in an awkward spot. But we want to take care of the customer, so we'll do what we can. I mean, some of the stuff isn't too hard, but some of this artwork, you don't ever know how expensive it could be when it's sitting on a mantle. And I did have someone in one of mine their in-laws showed up and were out and broke a fountain out back. And I'm like, why are you touching it?
Yeah.
Look at it, take a picture. I don't care, but why are you touching it? And then they tried to tell me it just fell apart, and I'm like, I've been here for 3 hours and it hasn't fallen apart on me. But yeah, so we come across a lot of stuff like that, and that's exactly
crazy.
why we don't move things.
Right.
So what type of inspections do you offer besides just the traditional home inspection?
Well, we're full service, so we offer radon, termite, mold, lead, asbestos, pretty much anything you can need. Sewer scoping, well and septic.
So
air
sewer
tests.
scoping, I have a question about that.
Sure.
How often do you need to have, well, not sewer scoping, I don't think. So like your drains out to the
To the main?
curb?
Yeah, that's a
That's
sewer
sewer
scope.
scoping.
That is sewer scoping. Okay, I'm losing my mind. How often should you have that done?
Depending on the age of the house. I mean, if you get it done, I just did one that was a 1940s home, and it was fine. And I asked my guy, and he goes, well, I probably wouldn't do it for another 5 years unless they're going to, if there's no trees and stuff, typically
Giant trees, giant roots everywhere.
Yeah, when there's trees and roots, once you find roots, they're going to be told that they need to be jetted out or cut out. Once they're cut out, you're doing it every 2 years.
Wow. Okay.
So
How much does that cost?
It's a few $100s.
Okay.
It's not to have it cut out or to
No,
have
to
it
have
scoped.
you scoped.
It's just a few $100s. It's
Okay.
not. It's definitely worth it because we recommend it on any house 2,000 or older, and if you
It's
don't,
as old as me, and I'm falling apart. So I
Look at
figured.
Shannon using the podcast to get some personal advice here.
the problem is if you don't do it, it's one of those things that if you come across a problem after you move in,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to eat that cost because it could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to repair. So
Well, we've been there since 2013, but the giant tree in the yard makes me more and more nervous.
And how old's the house?
Well, it was built in the 80s,
Oh, okay.
so it's a little newer than I am.
You should have it done, and they'll tell you if you need to, what you need to do. You might start to see a few roots come through there, but shouldn't be clay pipes, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Should not be clay pipes. No.
Yeah.
So what other tests do you? Sorry, because I kind of interrupted.
No, that's fine. We actually even do meth testing.
Oh, dear.
I've only had to do a few of those. It can be a very dangerous test, and you typically find those in multi-unit homes where you're afraid that your neighbor might be doing something, or the neighbor before you moved in might have been doing something. And
Luckily, we've not had one of those.
yeah, it's an expensive test, but if it's something that could kill you, you might want to have that done. Unfortunately, if you find it, you're tearing out drywall. You're not just cleaning it.
Wow.
So again, it's another test that could be a costly problem to find later. But like I said, when we test water, air, radon and termite, I would say would be the biggest things that we're doing. Probably 70% of all the homes.
And you do water testing as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's another big one, especially when you get outside the city
Mhm.
and off the city water.
We do a lot of that since we cover about 7 or 8 counties.
Yeah, we do a lot out in Marysville and out that way too, and we get a lot of it.
Sent you to Marion.
Yeah, yes. We pretty much will go anywhere.
So, do you still do the test or where you scan the walls?
Oh, with the thermal imaging?
Yep, the thermal
Yes,
imaging.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, that helps us. It doesn't tell you that there's a leak. It doesn't tell you that there's a fire or anything, but it tells you hot and cold. And when you have cold, you're looking for water. So then it basically is just prompting you to go look to do another test.
Okay.
If it's hot, it prompts you to go look for heat problems or electrical problems. With the interesting thing with the heat, and I didn't know when I started this, but there's places that we've found bees in the walls, that we've found
Wow.
termite groups in the wall. I mean, you can find these colonies that are massive, and when they're massive in the wall, they can be very expensive to remove. Like outside, you see a few bees flying around. You don't realize it in the wall. That could be
Wow.
Thousands
huge.
of bees.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, which could be obviously lethal, especially if you have a young child in the room. But yeah, so we've come across things like that. That's kind of interesting when you see it on your thermal camera. You look over and you're like, "What's that giant heat pack?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I just like Shannon's face.
Sorry.
Started off with termites and cockroaches, and now we're on to bees and
Fleas and cockroaches.
oh, fleas!
thank
I'm
you.
so sorry. Fleas and cockroaches.
Yeah, most people don't think that that's what the thermal imaging's for, but you can definitely find that.
That's really cool. I never thought of that.
I didn't either.
So, what are your thoughts on inspections for new homes? I have so many people that, they're building a home or they're buying an inventory home and they think, well, it's brand new. I don't need an inspection.
Here's what I can tell you. We do a ton of new builds, and in all fairness to the builders out there, everyone's getting stretched thin. Supervisors that used to supervise 10 homes are now supervising 50 homes.
Yeah.
So can they look at everything?
And they're still
I
built
don't
by
know.
people.
Yeah, yeah. And then you also have your county inspectors, which they went from inspecting a few a day to 100 a day. So, how detailed are they? And if you want someone that's on your side, I have no interest in the builder. I only have your interest there. So you get someone who knows what they're talking about that's going to help protect you. And we have great relationship with the builders. So typically we're not there to blame them. We're there to help them. They don't know everything. They don't actually build the house. There's an AC guy that comes in. There's a plumber that comes in. There's an electrician that comes in. So they're not the plumber or the electrician. So it's not it's their issue to go back and have it fixed, but they need someone to point that out.
And they're usually really good at doing that because, again, they don't know.
Well, the big thing, and I always tell people this, look, they have an electrician here doing 15 other homes that they're doing. They can just have their electrician come over and fix this. Their window guy come over and fix this. It's usually not that big of a deal, but yet it still has to be pointed out.
Yeah.
So,
because otherwise no one would know.
And the good thing with what we do on a new build is we always do a 1 year or basically 11 months after you close, we come back and do a 1 year follow-up. So, because you're going to get a 1 year warranty walkthrough with your builder, we come back and walk that before you walk with your builder to give you a list of stuff to tell them.
That's really nice.
That is a great, great tool for sure.
We try and stay away from the cosmetic issues, which is what a lot of people want to point out. And we'll talk to them about it, and they can still point it out to their builder. The builder may fix things like that. However,
usually not.
Yeah.
Like, on the
However, we're
compromise.
there to fix, major shifting and stuff like that, or things that might have been missed during the or changed since the closing.
And we used to have to worry about nail pops, but it's funny because you don't get that anymore. So they don't even use nails. Thank God for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you switch to screws and you don't.
Yeah, then you don't have nail
pops.
pops.
Yeah.
So it's so amazing how that took like 30, 40 years to figure out.
It's kind of like a squeaky floor that if you use screws, they don't squeak.
Well, because when they use the nail guns, they usually miss anyways.
Well, true. or that nail's working its way out and a screw just can't. So.
Yeah. So it's amazing how long it takes to catch on to things.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing what spending another couple $100 in in your building process,
Mm-hmm.
or few thousand dollars, what difference that makes in the quality of your work too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely building enough houses. Well, we're still not building enough houses, but we're building
still
a lot of houses right now.
8,000 houses short.
Yeah.
So, and that dates back to the whole.
Yearly.
That dates back to the whole crash or whatever when we stopped building because of that. So we still haven't been able to get caught up. And with so many people coming in, I don't see how we're going to get caught up.
Unless a bunch of builders come here.
Yeah, but then you run some risks there.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are definitely builders out of the area who do things completely differently. I just closed on one that doesn't even provide landscaping, sod, or seed. You get a final grade and it's all mud. That's it.
Wow. And if
It's
you've
fun
ever
with
walked,
pets.
if
Yeah.
you've ever walked through that too, it's impossible to get off your boots.
Oh, it
and
is.
stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
I had that I closed in the winter on my house, and they didn't put it in until late spring, and that little bit of time in between, it was interesting. I thought I was going to lose one of my kids stuck in the yard at one point.
But it's crazy how what's common down here is not common like 2-3 hours north.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
And Pillar to Post inspected that home in Medina.
Oh, did it?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably Paul Ferguson up there.
Yeah, you said he was pretty big up
Yeah,
there.
he's huge. He's got a great company up there.
So I called him, and that's who went.
Good.
So
Good. Yeah.
Spread the love.
We're everywhere. So
Yeah.
So, about how many houses do you inspect a year?
This year we'll do over 500.
Wow.
So,
And it's just you and Tom, right?
and I have other inspectors that'll do fill in for me when we get too busy. Spring, it's hard to have full timers when your business is super busy in 3 months for 3 months, and then you're not doing much in November and December, or as much. So you need people to fill in those slots. And so we've got other people that we do reach out to if we need to. But for the most part, yeah, just Tom and I.
Okay. And you guys stay pretty busy with meetings and everything else, too?
Yeah, I'm involved in pretty much every meeting everything that we can attend. I like to go. I like to sponsor a lot of stuff. I like to be out there with the community. So
We've got lots of opportunities coming up for you.
I just left an Asian luncheon earlier today
Oh, yeah.
to sponsor. So
That's nice.
yeah,
They do some good stuff, too. So
yeah. That's a new group that's really trying to get going here. I mean,
They are.
it's going to be a big group that's really going to get going here soon. So
And they have some neat ideas for different functions and stuff. So,
absolutely, yep,
yeah, they're pretty neat.
yeah.
Any other questions?
No?
Anybody? Any advice for anyone?
This market's tough, and I get that, but there's still things that we need out there. You're not going to buy your house without an appraisal. I just ask that you don't buy a house without an inspection.
Yeah.
And no matter what, I'd like to see our realtors. I know people say that I would never recommend that, and I get that. Everyone wants to say that, but however, there's still a lot of people that kind of, infer that if you go without an inspection, you stand a better chance at winning the house. And we really need to put a stop to that from the selling realtors. The selling realtors need to take a good offer. They don't have to, they need to do what's best in everyone's, they can't just take an offer because there's no inspection.
Right.
Because you're really putting people at risk. And, we find a lot of carbon monoxide leaks, a lot of stuff like that out there
Wow.
that are simple to fix, but you don't know you have them until there's a problem. And unfortunately, when there's a real problem, then it's going to be a problem for everybody.
Yes.
So I would just urge everyone, let's still continue the house process. I mean, it's like trying to buy a house without a realtor. You've got a realtor that's there to protect you and make sure you're buying the best investment you can. Let us help you protect it for you.
Okay. Well, thanks, Ryan, for joining us
Yes,
again.
thank you.
Thank
Ryan
you.
French with
Pillar to post.
Yes, I've just been saying 3 pillar a lot, so there's pillars everywhere. Pillar to Post. So Ryan French with Pillar to Post Home Inspections. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, follow, subscribe at Shannon Grimm Realtor on most social media.